Body language was that response.
Yep.
What do you have to say, Mr. Mohammad?
Okay, single sales. When you look like you're single, it sells. You make more money. It's what it takes out here.
Hey, listen, guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome to Little Black Book, you understand? If you're new here, listen, just like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We're talking to you today about divorce court, Cutler and Mohammad. Yes, these two wonderful young people have been dating for the last 3 years. They lived together for the last 3 years. They moved out their parents' home into a home together. They're both, you know, aspiring, I guess, entertainers as well. Model, he's a dancer, and they're having troubles. And what is the trouble? He isn't setting good boundaries, and he's not holding true to his words, so it seems. And so we want to discuss about being effective in communication and why this has trouble in a relationship, especially what we saw in Cutler versus Mohammad. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure, again, you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of what? Uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Stay hydrated. Because the streets out there are hot. All right, let's get into the video. But before we do, let's start the intro, baby.
Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is.
All right then. So let's talk a little bit about Cutler versus Mohammad. I think there's some interesting things that were going on in this particular video. So let's start from the very beginning. I know I was a bit sensational, that little clip I played there. But let's start from the reason why they're even getting this conversation.
Broken laptop.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say in addition to your laptop, your relationship is also broken.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want to talk about some of those issues today?
Yes, Your Honor. I am.
So her reasoning for why they're here right now is because his dancing career seemingly is ruining their relationship. What she really means is, I'm having trouble with the fact that you are not setting good boundaries when you are doing your entertainment. And the other side is that, you know, he says she needs not to be so insecure about the fact that he does entertainment. Now, I think there's a bit of, you know, there's two sides of the story, right? But I think there is one side that's much stronger than the other, right? At first, when I heard it, I said, oh, this is a very tasty one. Is she being insecure about the situation, or is he gaslighting her, right? And I honestly think there's a bit more gaslighting than there is insecurity, right? I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose. But when I look at the key points, I'm having trouble with the consistency of his behavior to really back what he's saying. Whenever there seems to be a situation brought up, he will say, oh, that didn't happen. And then in the end, he will admit, okay, that only happened once. And then we'll admit in the end, okay, that happened. And then she will go, no, that happened several times. So it's like, then you realize it's a pattern of behavior that he's doing, that he's also then covering up and saying, oh, it didn't happen that many times. It only happened once, but it keeps happening, all right? So let's deal with some of the issues that they were facing as to why they're here, okay? So the laptop obviously broke as well. He says he's here to save the relationship. And he says, you know, that he also wasn't very happy with her modeling career thing as well, which I didn't really understand why he said that, but hey. All right, let's deal with the deeper issues here. Let's start from the text conversations situation, right? Let's deal with that, right?
I won't hear from him at all. And when he comes home, it's always, oh, oops, I didn't see my phone, or oops, my phone died. There was an incident where he left.
Now, first and foremost, let me be very, very clear. In a relationship, clear lines of communication are important. Now, from somebody who has stonewalled in the past, who knows how to ghost for hours without messaging back and saying, oops, I did it again. I play with, no, okay, stop. But for someone who's done that before, I know exactly what that is, right? You not messaging for hours on end. Now, there is some level of truth to why he's not messaging back, right? Which is, yes, he may be on set, etc., etc. But as she goes on to explain, there are breaks, and absolutely there are breaks, right? And when I really want to talk to you, I will do that. But sometimes there are issues also where sometimes I'm just so focused on the work I want to do, I don't want to message you because I don't want to get into a long message back and forth because I can't give you my fullness at that time. But you are in a relationship, I'm not, okay? When you are in a relationship, you need to be able to be viable and you need to be available. You need to be able to discuss, and I'm not saying at length, but you need to be just at least to say, hey, how you doing? I hope you're good. I'm on my 12-hour shift again. Just want to make sure you're good, right? Now, what he discussed earlier on happened in the beginning was that at the very beginning, the first 6 months, he was on fire. They would text for hours and it would be fresh and brand new. And what he said was that he fell back into his old ways. The true him, after the representative had died, showed up. And the question you have to even ask straight away is to the young lady is this what you want in a relationship? And does he want to do better? Because what he said was, I don't do texting. But when you first started, you were happy to do that because you wanted to win her over. So you're able to do it. But as soon as you got comfortable, you stopped doing it. You no longer wanted to work hard to do it because you felt like you had her. So you went back to complacency. All right? And that's what she's complaining about in the communication sector, right? He can be on shoot and won't talk for 12 hours. Let's have a look at this.
Like 2 in the afternoon, and he didn't come back home until 2 a.m. And during that time, I was texting and calling him, and he did not respond at all. And when he came home, he said it was because his phone died.
Now, the problem here is this. This has got nothing to do with the set. This is all to do with the fact that his phone died. He didn't make the excuse of why he was out for 12 hours, why he couldn't be reached, was because he was on set. He made it because his phone died. Right? Now, we've all been there at times where our phone has died or something's happened and we've not been able to communicate with our partner. But if you know your partner's going to fret that you haven't spoke for 12 hours, it's your partner now. This ain't your friend. Okay, it's your partner who you speak to every day and suddenly doesn't message you for 12 hours, it's a problem. And there's a deeper line and issue as to why you're not messaging her. Right? Now, your phone could have died, but what I'm hearing is slightly excuses. Let's be honest and real. What are the reasons why you're not messaging her, sir? What are the obstacles that are stopping you from messaging her? Let's keep it 100 a buck. Right? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm the worst when it comes to texting. I'll be telling people, listen, I am busy. I'm just doing something. I'm just filming. And a lot of times I am doing those things, but then I don't get back to you. And the reason why is because I struggle with too much emotional connections. When I have too many of them overloading me, I've got to release some, right? And I feel like I'm being claustrophobic, like emotionally enclosed. And then I feel like I have to just cut off everything, right? But that's a deeper lining issue that I have, which is being worked on, but it's a deeper lining issue. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm busy or I'm working, but I realize when I'm with my partner, I don't do that. Maybe with friends I do, but with my partner, I make a conscious effort to not do that because I don't want that in a relationship, right? That's something I had to work on consciously because I've been in a relationship where I have done that. I've gone AWOL for 3-4 days, bro. And I'm not doing anything. I just wanted peace. I don't want to hear from them. But there was a deeper line of issue. There was things that the person was doing, not that were necessarily bad. They weren't even bad. We weren't connecting. So I'd rather just ghost. Now, that's a very immature way to handle things because I didn't communicate that. Instead, I went AWOL. And that in itself is emotionally abusive. I've always said this. Stonewalling someone is emotionally abusive. Okay? Now, you may have good reason for it. I don't care. I may understand. I don't care, but it's still emotionally abusive. Let's call it for what it is. Let's not pretend and try to maneuver around it. Okay? You're not messaging her on several occasions and doing that and calling it I'm on shift. It's not a good enough excuse. Because you were doing it before. You were messaging her. So you're choosing not to message her now. This is the problem. Beforehand, you didn't set that precedence. You're saying she should understand and know where you're coming from, but you didn't set that precedence from the beginning. When the beginning started, you were making all the effort in the world. Right? You were still an entertainer then. Nothing has changed except that you got comfortable. That's the problem. But let's ask that question again. What is the problem, the deeper line issue for you, sir, as to why you don't communicate and why you don't text? Because you want to be in person, right? So there's another thing here where they were talking about being here. I want to just read this part here.
And I didn't pick her up.
You talked about that, and it didn't happen again, is what you're saying.
It didn't happen again.
It did happen again.
When did it happen again? I'm
It
surprised.
happened multiple times. It wasn't just once. Your excuse was always, I'm sorry.
So
you see what I meant about how he says, oh, it only happened once, then it happened several times. That in itself is problematic because there's a breaking of the trust, especially in a relationship. But it also shows me as well that he's not aware of the impact of his behavior. I think he's being genuine that he doesn't realize this more than once. I think he doesn't realize the impact of his behavior. And that is a lack of self-awareness. That in itself is a problem, right? That in itself is a problem. That dealing with communication, that you don't have self-awareness because you're not sure how your lack of communication is impacting your partner. That's problem number one. Number two, we have not understanding how to set good boundaries, right? Which happened. Okay, let's have a little look at this particular area as well. Okay, where he talks about this.
And there was even an instance where there was one girl who noticed me and she just like went and just started dancing on him and she gave eye contact to me like, this is your man, I know what I'm doing, I can take him from.
Now, I think she's been a bit creative with that. I'm sure how she felt is how she felt. And more than likely, that girl was probably saying that through her eyes, right? More than likely. Maybe not, right? But that's not what's important. What's important is, what are the boundaries for this relationship in terms of when it comes to your entertainment? We'll discuss that a bit further on in terms of key questions we can ask at the end of this particular video. But there's a problem here. Boundaries. What both parties see as boundaries are considerably different, right? Because that's not how he sees the particular story, right? He doesn't see the story that way. Let's see how he sees the story.
So her eye contact said
all that to me.
and his body language was that response.
Yep.
What do you have to say, Mr. Mohammad?
Okay, single sales. When you look like you're single, it sells.
Now, listen, it sounds wild. There's some element of truth to it, but I'm going to say this. Just as much as single sells, being in a relationship sells as well. People lack a little bit of naughtiness. Now, you have to establish the boundaries with your partner. Now, if you establish a boundary with your partner that, hey, look, you know what? Some people are going to dance on me. It doesn't mean anything. This is what it is. Then that's cool. You've established that with your partner. You've got to establish that with your partner as to what are the levels we can go. If you're doing it as we go along, this is going to happen. Where both parties have different viewpoints when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to another party being involved with you in such an intimate way. Because how they interpret the information. But if you say this is a boundary that we have set for ourselves, this is as far as we can and can't go, then that person has to honor what the boundaries are, except obviously when we change the terms and conditions. And at that point, you are free to then say, maybe this is not what I want, because I can't do that, right? But there has to be an established boundary set by both parties, right? So let's have a little bit more.
Make more money. It's what it takes out here, honestly. And I'm just surprised that Miss Cutler here is just so mind-boggled by the fact, because I've had so many different gigs where I've made money just off the appearance that I am single.
Now, listen, I don't think he's lying, right? Let's be honest, I'm a dancer myself. But you look, being a dancer also, you got to know as well, sometimes your exclusivity is also very, very, very pricey. Your exclusivity also makes you even more sought after, right? But again, you've got to again address the fact that what are the boundaries for each of us, you know? Maybe, and right now it sounds like she's not comfortable with that. So let's address the fact that where are our boundaries? Well, let's have that discussion. What is comfortable for you and what is not comfortable for you? And then assess from there, because maybe this relationship might not be able to go further. Because if you don't want to change and you feel like this is where the path you want to go down, this may be the end of the relationship. This may be a red flag, or this may be something that you don't want to change. We've got to establish that as well, right? So that was another aspect in terms of their conversation. I think another thing that was interesting was how they dealt with the friend.
Yes, I got his phone so I could text my phone. But when I went to his messages, hers automatically like opened up as like his recents. And there were like voice messages of him like telling her, oh, come out to the...
Now this story was kind of mad. Okay, the story goes, he was asking her to come out, the friend to come out. And the friend was saying, I don't want people to think that we are an item all together. I'm good, I'm cool. She had just broken up with her partner. And he was asking her to come out, like really asking her to come out. Now, can I be honest with you? And she said, oh, I don't want people to think that we're together. Now, can I be honest with you? Can I be really honest with you? Okay? The mere fact that the friend, the girl, thought that if she coming out, it would look like they were together and she didn't want the hassle. And he pushed it through. Let me be honest with you. He don't care how it looks because he still finds her attractive. This is my personal sentiment, by the way. This is my personal opinion. It's not absolute truth and it's not fact, right? But just dealing with men, right? The fact that he wants to push that and doesn't care is an indication that potentially he still finds this girl attractive. He enjoys a bit of the madness. He doesn't mind being associated with her. He doesn't mind if the rumor goes around they were kind of out together and something was going on. He don't care. And the reason why? Because he potentially finds her attractive. I'm not saying he has feelings for her, finds her attractive enough to do this, right? Because they have a history together as well. But let's listen to a bit more of the story.
The battle, come to the studio, come hang out. And she's like, no, I don't want people to get the wrong idea because, you know, we're friends and I just had a breakup. And in his voice recording, he's like, don't nobody care about them. Like, I'm here, just come vibe, come hang out. And I'm like, I told you that you're too friendly with this.
Now, let me be honest as well. He's not too friendly. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not naive. I'll be honest with you. He's not naive. I'll tell you why. Men pretend as if, I didn't even know what was going on. But if the same was done to you, you'd know exactly what you're feeling, right? You know you've dated this girl in the past. And this is why I said there's gaslighting here. And I'm not saying he's necessarily bad. He's intentionally playing dumb, right? To hope to get by, right? He's having his cake a little bit and eating it. I think this friend provides him an ego boost. I think he knows that the friend liked him because of the way he explained the story. I think he's getting some level of validation from her when he's with her because, you know, she liked him, right? And so he's not going to give that up right now because he's not in that place to do so. He's still enjoying the benefits and the fruit of the attention he gets, not only from her, but from his entertainment, right? And this is where it's very hard, when you're young especially, to separate the attention you get, you know, and to really separate your craft from the fact that you want validation from the craft. And what I mean by that is the love and affection you get from the craft, that can become you love all of that stuff. And I think that in itself is something he might not want to let go just of yet, right? Let's watch a little bit more.
Girl, and that I want you to kind of pull back a little bit and set some boundaries. And you're here inviting her out to the studio.
But you said that it's just a friend and you've known her for a long time.
Now, we heard this line before. He's saying, I'm just a friend. We know where that came from, okay? The person doesn't want to be a friend, right? Now, I'm not saying he wants to date this girl. I just think he likes to play. The friend actually came out and said, oh, I actually pulled back because I would understand her position. And yet you're trying to pull that girl out and be close to her. That is an indication of triangulation. And that's an indication of you also as well trying to enjoy your cake and eat it, right? Like I said, because the friend is also, the girl that's in question, she's pulled away. She's trying to pull away. And you're trying to pull her back in. Knowing how this could look. Knowing that your partner is not comfortable with her. Knowing that the girl herself that you're trying to pull in is even trying to pull away because she understands where the girl is coming from. That is the indication that I knew that he's moving mad. Right? He's moving mad. I'm not saying he's cheating. I don't think he's cheating at all. Not at all. I think he's intentionally having breaking of boundaries because it feeds an ego in him. It feeds something in him. I'm not saying that there isn't an area maybe of insecurity within the girl. I think there is. But I think also that's birthed from the fact that they've been friends previously. He's not creating good boundaries. It seems like something could potentially happen. Yeah? You know, the fact that he didn't want to mention the 2 a.m., you know, friendships that they were having as well, that, you know, conversation that helps with their relationship problems, also is saying, I think there's something else that's happened. Not even that. I think in the girl's mind, in Cutler's mind, I think what's happened is she knew that they had a physical relationship in the past. And for her, she's unhappy with the relationship. As she mentioned earlier on, she didn't want to tell him from the beginning what kind of friendship she can keep around. Her problem is that friendship will never work for her because she knows they've been physical. So even though they haven't been in a relationship, she knows they've been physical. And the moment that she knows they've been physical, this could happen again for her in her mind. So she's never comfortable with the relationship. This is why she wants the boundaries there. And for him, he's saying it ain't going to go there again. And it may never go there again because he may never look at her that way. But the trouble is he's already been intimate with her. Therefore, boundaries have to be set. You can't be the same kind of friendship you had beforehand because you've been intimate. Now, I don't know any man that's comfortable with a woman being friends with a man that she's been intimate with already. Tell me, how many men? There ain't many men out there that are going to be comfortable with that. So he needs to stop playing around because he knows exactly what he's doing. That is what we're saying in this situation. So I'm not saying, that he's all the way wrong. What I'm saying is he's intentionally being naive to situations, the grinding on me, the lack of the ability to wake up and collect her from work or whatever, saying he's tired, the fact that obviously he's not messaging and texting her back during the course of days several times, the fact that this friend is way too close. And when I say triangulation, what that means is you bring that friend in almost to cause trouble in your relationship. Like she has some say in the relationship, even though she's not talking. But because you keep breaking the boundary with her, it's like you triangulate her into a relationship. It's mad. So my key points here that I want to kind of focus on to talk about here, key points, hold on, let me just do this so we can scroll across key points we can focus on here. Why are you failing to communicate effectively? As in, why are you failing to message her throughout the course of the day? What does it feel like when you have to message her throughout the course of the day? How are you feeling when you have to message her throughout the course of the day? It's a question, right? How do we work on making you better at communication? Because you can do it. You have done it before. You've been effectively communicating with her regularly. How do we get you back onto a place where you can regularly communicate through text once again, right? And is there a deeper lining issue? Oops, I haven't seen your text. It's not a good excuse, and it doesn't wash. Okay? Why is it you keep bringing that friend close to your relationship, even though she herself has said that she doesn't want to be too close to a relationship because she understands where the girl's coming from, right? What is the real reason why this girl is around? Why are you keeping her in a friendship? What does she offer to you in a friendship, right? I know she's been around the dance battle scene for a little while, but what else does she offer that someone else couldn't offer? And why do you need to have her as a friend when you've been intimate with her already and crossed a boundary when it comes to friendship? Right? What boundaries have we set when it comes to physical touch, when it comes to other parties being involved when you're doing entertainment? How far is too far? Right? How far is too far for each of us? Okay? What would you like to see in terms of our communication? How would you like it to be? How would you like it to manifest itself? This is a question to the girl. Right? And I love what the judge said. It's like, oh, I think you guys may need to have some time separate apart. I don't want to suggest that, but it potentially could be a good result, for them to kind of rediscover who they are and what they're about. I think a bigger thing here is just about what our boundaries and what our communication is. Those are really two big things that happen in relationships all the time. Boundaries get tested, communication goes off, or miscommunications, right? But those two things are very important to their relationship and moving forward. Just to let you guys know as well, if you're in a relationship, you're single, you want some coaching, reach out to us, Little Black Book 91. Hit us on littleblackbook91@gmail.com. Hit us up. We'll book you in for a session. Let's see how best we can help you going forward. But make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay.
Little Black Book, you know what time it is.